Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, a lot of people that are going to start getting into cryptocurrency may start to wonder what the best method of turning your fiat currency into Bitcoin is. Now, the standard mode of operation for the average person, whether they're new or a veteran, is typically to go to a centralized institutional exchange. I'm talking things like Coinbase, Binance, Bybit, KuCoin, OKX, etc. And this has become the standard dominant way of trading Bitcoin. And it's been like that for a long time. But you probably don't know that there are other different kinds of exchanges out there that you've heard of. And you might be curious to know what the differences are between them and which one actually has the best benefit to use, right? So thanks for watching my video. My name's Dave, and I give you a lot of tips about how to debank, how to reduce your reliance on centralized financial systems using the power of cryptocurrency. So make sure to subscribe if you want to get more updates on how to do things like that. So let's get into it. So I would say that there are three predominant types of cryptocurrency exchanges. So the first one I mentioned is the one where most of the trading volume is. Now, the reason why it's the dominant form of trading is because these cryptocurrency exchanges are the most regulated out of all of them. They're up to date on their KYC laws, their AML laws, and this allows them to deal in basically every country in the world, provided that they follow the country's rules. And most countries will allow the trading provided they can follow these KYC and AML laws. So what is KYC and what's AML? AML stands for anti-money laundering, and KYC stands for know your customer. So the know your customer thing, or KYC, is a very important three-letter word in the world of crypto, because what it is, it's a policy requiring users to provide their personal information in exchange for being allowed to access the utilities of a particular exchange, right? So if you want to get on Binance, it's really important that you provide your name, your date of birth, maybe some other personal information, and most importantly, you're going to have to provide a picture of your passport, a driver's license, other form of identification. You're probably then going to have to jump through a few other hoops. Like very frequently, they'll actually pair that up with biometric data, where maybe you hold up a picture of your face with your passport, or they'll do some other thing where, I don't know if you're familiar with this, many exchanges will make you stare into your camera while you look up, look left, look down, look right. And it's actually a very invasive process. I mean, these exchanges are actually storing your biometric data at the behest of governments in order to be able for them to do business in these countries, right? Now, there is a huge amount of problems with this I'm sure you're already crawling in your skin thinking about all this data that you're potentially having to give away. But I want to explain why first they're forced to do this, right? So first, most countries are very strict when it comes to financial things, for very good reasons, right? So one thing is that if you're a bad actor, malevolent actor, you're dealing with hacked funds, scammed funds, or whatever, and if you can just make an account on Binance, you can do all this bad activity. Once your account eventually gets caught and it gets banned, then without KYC, you can just go and make another one and another one, another one. And that's one of the big problems with any payment platform, right? Not even just crypto. When a bad actor has the ability to make multiple accounts, the team in that company doesn't have the ability to properly crack down on bad actors, because they can just keep coming back to the platform. So if they make sure that each person can only make one account and that one account is tied to their identity, then that is a way that they can prevent these bad actors from continuing to come back. So it's not all bad, but the downside, of course, is the fact that part of the appeal to cryptocurrency is that it's anonymous. And one thing that people want is the ability to self-custody their own funds and to be free of having to reveal how much money they have, whether that's to a bank, whether that's to the government, whether that's their friends, their family. There's a saying in Chinese, I forget how to say it in Chinese, but it's along the lines of you should wear your silks on the inside, right? You don't want to have to, like your silks, being like was a very expensive thing back in China. you don't want to wear it on the outside. You don't want to walk down the street and for everyone to know you're rich, right? The best thing to do, just as a personal thing, is you don't want people to know you're rich. You just want to wear it on the inside. You don't want to advertise to the world that you have $1 million, stuff like that. Best thing you can do is just have it squirreled away somewhere, and you don't want people to know, that you have this, right? And one thing as Bitcoiners that we're very paranoid about is regulation and stuff like that. I mean, right now, crypto regulation seems pretty positive. I think there is a positive trend towards Bitcoinization, but depending on what country, and you don't know if there could just be, the government changes and they say, you know what, Bitcoin is banned now. You know what, we want a list of everyone that owns Bitcoin. You don't know exactly what it is. And that might sound paranoid, but it was out of this paranoid miasma that actually created the likes of Bitcoin, amongst many other reasons. So there is a real problem with centralized financial exchanges. And on top of that, centralized financial exchanges only typically deal with bank transfers, right? And I'll tell you why this is a problem. So if you want to buy cryptocurrency and you want to have an anonymous form of funds that you can self-custody, the issue is that when you send funds from your bank account to the exchange, it's very clear in the bank transaction that you send funds to Binance, you send funds to Coinbase, whatever. Because, it's going to be in the name of the transaction. The bank account's going to be named. It's not going to be, it's not like, you sent $500 to Bob Smith. It's going to say you sent $500 to Binance. So your bank is going to know that you own cryptocurrency, and, your bank, having to follow many regulations and such, is then going to have to maybe provide that information to three-letter agency services, so theoretically the government can know, and it just goes on, and it sounds paranoid, and I think the many people might say, well, if you've got nothing to hide, then there should be no problem, but that's not usually how it goes. You should usually assume the worst case scenario. Sorry, one second. Yes. And this is just simply not what Bitcoin was meant for. So I want to talk about the next kind of cryptocurrency exchange, which is a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange. Now, prior to centralized exchanges forming, the first cryptocurrency transaction is, I'm sure you've heard, the legendary story of people, I think it was on the Bitcoin Talk forum, trading Bitcoin for pizza. Someone basically said, hey, I'm buying a pizza for Bitcoin. Here's my wallet address, and two people directly traded with each other, and that's how it happened, right? They just traded without an exchange. They just dealt directly with each other, and so up until centralized exchanges took place, it took place in a peer-to-peer manner. That just means one person dealt directly with another person. You would need to require some trust, so you couldn't just deal with complete random strangers usually. Or if you did deal with random strangers, maybe it was on a forum and that person had to have a high reputation. It was an imperfect system, but it got the job done, and it was true to the core mission of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, to be a peer-to-peer decentralized form of payments. Now, if one person is dealing directly with another person with no third party in the middle, then, it can retain the value of Bitcoin, because if you read this Satoshi Nakamoto white paper, Satoshi talks about how the more third parties are involved in the process, the less secure the overall transaction is going to be, because there's an element of corruption that can take place. So you can see that with, say, the Federal Reserve controlling the national currency, right? They have the ability to manipulate it, ultimately screwing people over, right? Or banks or whatever, right? There's always more problems that could be created the more people have leverage over the people trying to deal directly with each other, right? So the issue, though, with this system is that it's just very inefficient. As I said, you'd have to deal with someone you trust, because if you're just going to find someone online or wherever, they can always just scam you. You have to send funds to the other person in exchange for the pizza. What's going to happen if that person just takes your Bitcoin and just blocks you on Telegram, right? So this is why it was hard for peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges to scale up. Sorry, just peer-to-peer transactions to scale up. And this is what led to centralized financial exchanges, where there were systems in place that prevented these scams from happening. All the trades happened through something called an AMM. That's what's called an automated market maker. And this is an automated market maker is a system you see on places like, I got to show you an example, like see on Binance. This is important for you to see. This damn ads, come on. Go away, buy crypto. Like you'll see like a bunch of buy and sell orders right next to each other. Sorry, the internet's too slow right now. Oh my gosh. Trade, here we go, spot market. This is what an AMM is. This is an automated market maker. So this is what most centralized exchanges are, right? To the right, you've got a list of buy orders and sell orders. The exchange manages this system, and all these orders, people aren't directly trading with each other. It goes through into this salad of funds that is automatically matched with each other, and people don't have to deal with each other, but they're ultimately having to go through the exchange. And this is a great way for large amounts of volume to be traded, and it's very simple, and this is what's allowed the cost of trading to go down, right? So if you go to peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges, you're typically having to buy and sell below or above market rate, because there's just less liquidity, because it's just a less convenient form of trading. Whereas if you go to places like Binance or Bybit, you're only paying like 0.1% above the market rate, which is usually a fee that goes to Binance, because there's so much liquidity. So all the trading volume is going to go to the place where it's cheapest to buy and sell, and centralized exchanges are able to just amass the most liquidity because it's the most convenient, and because they're regulated, right? So they've got deals with banks and they can openly operate, so they get the best deals and stuff like that, and that's why a lot of the volume went there. But there was always a desire to have what Bitcoin was supposed to be. So various peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges set up in likeness to that original pizza transaction, where people were able to directly deal with each other, but there was just one safety rail that was put in place. And what the exchange was essentially was an escrow provider. So what an escrow provider is imagine kind of like if you've got a house, right? And you don't necessarily just want to send all this money directly to the to the seller, because again, that person could just run away, right? So you send funds to a real estate agent who acts as escrow. They receive the funds, and they'll make sure that the keys and everything gets over to you. They make sure that the original tenants aren't still squatting there, stuff like that. So they can guarantee that if push comes to shove and there's a dispute, they can be a trusted third party that will manage that. And that's ultimately what a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange provides. Because ordinarily, typically you could just go trade with some random person you met on a forum, or someone that randomly emailed you, or someone on Telegram, right? That's not safe because you can get scammed. But on a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange, you're allowing yourself to directly trade with another person, but someone else has the ability to step in if there's a dispute, and that's going to make it safer. So that's the second kind. Now, many of you might be watching this video to see where DEXs come in, a decentralized exchange, right? Where does this come in? So first I want to say that peer-to-peer trading is part of the DeFi system. It is fully DeFi to the core, but the kind of exchange that I mentioned, this peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange, is kind of like Stone Age technology. It doesn't utilize dApps. It's not on some ERC20 protocol or some layer 1 protocol or anything like that. It's just two people connecting with each other, right? Doesn't need any vaporware or anything like that. Just two people coming to an agreement with each other for how much to buy the cryptocurrency for, and how much, what kind of payment method they're going to use. So the decentralized exchange is basically what a peer-to-peer it combines elements of the peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange with the AMM system, the centralized exchange, right? The centralized exchange aspect of the DEX is that it also kind of runs on an AMM. You've got a list of buy and sell orders that are automatically matched up with each other, right? Which is pretty good. But unlike the centralized exchange, is that it's decentralized, right? So all the liquidity is basically provided by individual third parties, as opposed to the centralized exchange that provides all the trading liquidity, essentially, and people deal with the exchange if they want to buy and sell. Whereas on a place like Uniswap, let's pull it up here. I just realized I didn't even have the Windows capture in the background. The whole time I didn't have that there. Hang on a sec. Oh. So give me a second. Sorry, I just realized because it wasn't in the background, you didn't see. This is what an AMM is, all right? So if you see to the left, sorry, to the right, you see a bunch of buy and sell orders. They're automatically matched with each other, but ultimately the liquidity is still provided by the exchange because people are buying and selling to the exchange, essentially, right? They're not dealing directly with other users, right? The difference is on a decentralized exchange is they are actually directly buying from another user that's providing liquidity to the platform, right? So this is a great thing, and I think DEXs have been touted as the panacea to the problem that we have with centralized exchanges, where centralized exchanges have come to dominate like the vast majority of trading volume, right? They've become a monopoly, which is a bad thing because, as I mentioned, it's de-anonymizing crypto. Institutions are having more and more control over the transfer of fiat funds into crypto, and it's creating a bottleneck where it's ultimately, I think, spoiling the ideals of which crypto was actually originally designed for, right? So places like Uniswap, PancakeSwap, all these DEXs have come in, and they're doing a similar job to centralized exchanges, but in a decentralized manner. And unlike peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges, through their AMM system, it can efficiently allow exchanges to deal with large quantities of volume. But there's one caveat to that, which is you can't onboard your fiat into crypto. What it is you can trade crypto to crypto, which is pretty good. I mean, it would be better if you wanted to trade, say, Ethereum into Bitcoin. It'd be better if you did that on a decentralized exchange as opposed to a centralized exchange. But the problem is most of the trading volume and most of what people care about is being able to turn their depreciating fiat assets into cryptocurrency. And unfortunately, that's just something that isn't really possible on Uniswap or PancakeSwap or whatever. This is something that you can only, if you want to use DeFi, a decentralized method of turning your fiat into crypto, that's where peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges come in. So the reason why you're able to turn your fiat into cryptocurrency on a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchange without necessarily having to provide KYC or go through all these hoops is because unlike the centralized exchange, which is basically providing all the liquidity and they have to follow all these laws, the people that provide the liquidity on these peer-to-peer trading platforms, they're all individuals. So as you can see, you're not buying and selling from the platform itself. Look at all these people. There's hundreds and thousands of people all making offers to sell their cryptocurrency. And it's just, I don't know I don't know what countries they're in. I don't know what jurisdiction that allows for them to be doing this. I don't know what hoops that they've jumped through for them to be able to do this. But many people have found ways to be able to go through this, and some require KYC, others don't require KYC. But the reason why frequently these individual sellers don't require buyers to KYC is because many of them, like many of these payment methods, don't require KYC to be needed in order to be able to trade, right? So on TransferWise, like if you're gonna send someone funds from TransferWise to another TransferWise account, like that's just a normal transaction. And on top of that, because this user here, Trader84, but he's not an exchange. He's just an individual user out there just selling Bitcoin, right? He's not a corporation. He's nothing like that, right? When Bob sends funds to Trade 84. Let's just say this person's name is Dan. On TransferWise, it just says Bob sent funds to Dan, right? Whereas on centralized exchange, it's like, Bob sent funds to Coinbase, right? So the fiat transaction in and of itself is already anonymized. So if whoever was to look at this trade, they're not going to say, oh, Bob bought cryptocurrency today. It's just going to say Bob sent funds to Dan, right? And then it's only here, like on this website, where it's going to be clear that you actually received crypto for that. But it's all anonymous. It's not, this information is being revealed out to the public. Doesn't require any KYC to sign up to local CoinSwap. So all this information is just between you and the seller, right? It's completely anonymous, right? And there are so many different kinds of payment methods that don't require KYC. So TransferWise, gift cards are a big one, PayPal. The only ones that really require KYC, even if it's a peer-to-peer seller, it's typically going to be bank transfers, because bank transfers are a lot more sensitive. And if people don't want to get their bank account shut down and whatnot, they're going to have to follow much more stringent laws. So that's when they're going to have to require KYC from their buyer. But for the most part, you can use just a plethora of different payment methods that don't require any KYC, and everything's safe. So what are the downsides of P2P cryptocurrency? Well, as I mentioned, the principal appeal for these centralized exchanges like Binance and Bybit is just that there's so much volume, and because there's so much volume, there's less slippage, there's less of a markup, etc., etc. So Bybit makes money through economies of scale. They provide a huge amount of volume, which means that each individual has to pay less fees, which is great. But on P2P cryptocurrency exchanges, there's just simply less volume, so the fees are higher. So a typical fee that you'd pay if you were a seller, for instance, on local CoinSwap would be 1%, and that 1% would essentially be transposed onto the buyer. So that's number one. And another thing is that these markets tend to be very illiquid, right? So the Bitcoin to Razer Gold gift card exchange is not a huge trading pair, right? So as a result, the above market rate would fluctuate wildly depending on the volume. So it's not really clear that $100 of fiat is going to get you $100 of Bitcoin. Like in the case of this one, we'll just say the Razer Gold gift card. Let's just say if you wanted to turn that into Bitcoin, you would have to, if you paid $100 in Razer Gold gift card, you'd only get $62 in Bitcoin back. And this is the case for all the other ones, even things like Revolut, PayPal, stuff like that, Payoneer. So you're essentially going to be paying a premium if you want to take advantage of what peer-to-peer trading has to offer. If you want to take advantage of not having to go through KYC and being able to deal with all these exotic payment methods and stuff like that, that's just going to cost you. And if you're willing to pay that price, then it's perfectly doable. And a lot of people are willing to pay that price. I know I was willing. I don't do that anymore. But when I first got into Bitcoin, I paid a huge amount of money just because I wanted to do what I read in the white paper, which was, to buy and trade anonymously. So I went through systems like this to buy and sell crypto. So. So thanks a lot for watching this video, guys. If you have any further questions about this, I always read my comments. You can leave me a question and I will get back to you, and I'll be happy to help you out and teach you more about this stuff. And make sure to use my referral links in the description down below. I've got one for local CoinSwap. I've got one for HODL. You can use those and they should be able to reduce the fees, the trading fees. For that. So make sure to use my referral link and you can sign up with that. And I've also got a few other offers as well. You can check them out in the description below, and I'll see you next time.